What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Check it out over there. Chat with us, join on the conversation. Would love to have you in on all the fun. But if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube or podcast services. You can check it out over there where it's dropped topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. If you guys want to support, you guys can always support by getting some merch, some hot merch like this Enigma shirt over on the merch store there. Love you for it. Also, wherever you're watching this program or listening to this program, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Apple Play. I flipped those. Google Play, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening and watching, leave a review. Let us know what you're thinking of the show. Let others know what you think of the show, too. That support, while it may seem small, does actually go a long way. So, appreciate you guys. Please do that. And we'll love you for it. So yes, we're back after a month-plus hiatus. Wowzers. First off, I'd like to say what I meant to say a month and a half ago. I've seen the numbers of podcast listens. Thank you guys. Those numbers have been going up. And they've been pretty spread across, like not just the new episodes, like we're going back. People are listening. So I appreciate your support. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting this on during your workday, during your car ride, for entertainment, for laughs. You want to hear a man rant about fucking, what is that stupid movie? The vampires. You want to, Twilight. Wow, that was a brain fart. You want to hear me rant about that? You want to hear me rant about wrestling, video games, whatever it is. Thank you for giving this a chance, giving it an opportunity. I appreciate you. So now let's address the elephant in the room as my opening topic. Our break, our hiatus. What happened? Why'd you take a break? All this stuff. I don't know how long this topic will go. I don't know how real this topic will get. So, if you skip this topic, because I get it, we're starting on a potentially negative note. Totally fine. Skip ahead. You do you. You know, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to know. Skip ahead to the fun stuff. Topic 1 is our break. Why did we take our break? What happened? All that stuff. So, where to begin? We took about a month and a half break from content. No streaming, no podcasts, no YouTube videos, no really creating anything. And why was that? I'm not 100% sure. I have some ideas of what it could be. And mainly the thing was stress, I assume. There was a lot of stress going on. Not necessarily only in the content aspect, but in a lot of different ways. For my work, or at least where I'm working currently, it's very seasonal. So summer season is our busy season. We work extended hours. We work extra shifts. Totally fine. It's expected. Planned, I guess you could say. So that was going on. And there may have been some stresses at work, not from work itself. Nobody there was, making things harder. Nobody was negative. It was all a positive and healthy experience over there. Love my coworkers. They're great. Potentially, those extra hours, my different shift being a little bit later shift from a volunteer basis, could have added to the stress. I felt like I had to move super duper fast to get products out, orders out, shipments out. I felt like I was running around at points like a chicken with my head cut off, just trying to cover different stations, cover different bases, making sure things were moving, feeling stressed because if I'm not doing my job, it's a whole assembly line process. If I'm not doing my part, it's going to hold back that person from doing their part, which holds back from this. So there was all that. Self-induced stress from there, getting into my own head, whatever. So that was part of it. Secondly, personally, I felt a lot of stress and anxiety from, I guess, my own goals, ambitions, things of that nature. Now, when you're at work, what do you think about at work? Yes, obviously you're thinking about the task ahead of you and what you're actively working on, but you think about your free time. What do you want to do in your free time? Oh, I want to go hang out with X person. I want to play this game. I want to watch this movie. I want to watch this show. You want to think about what are those activities during your free time. And that was happening. Great. But then when it came down to it, for some reason, all those ambitions, or I guess energy to do any of those things, was gone. And it was almost non-existent, I guess. And for me, once again, probably self-induced, it felt like a waste of time. And it made me very angry. Like, I'm spending all this time thinking about these things that I want to do. I actively want to do. I want to play these games. I want to watch these shows, whatever it is, for myself. And when it comes down to it and I don't do those things, I felt like it was a giant waste of my time. And I was just getting angry at myself constantly. Like, what the fuck are you doing with your time? Why are you sitting here not knowing what to do? Why is there no drive to do these things that you want to do for fun, or do the stream, or do the podcast? Like, you think about these things constantly. How do you want to get better? How do you want to improve? How do you want to ideas for the show, programs and projects you want to work on to have it fun and make it exciting? And then when it comes down to it, you're just a lazy piece of shit who doesn't do anything. You don't actively put in the time or the work, or you're not using it well enough, or whatever it is. And it was a whole weird conundrum of just like, why is this a thing? Why aren't you putting in this effort that you claim that you want to do throughout this time where you can't do it? And then when it comes down to it, you're just meh, whatever. So I was down on myself in that regard, and like angry constantly and confused and whatever. And I think this kind of bled over into other areas, whether it was work, whether it was relationships, where I had such a short fuse. And it's things I should not be angry about or shouldn't bother me in the slightest. Something would be asked, something would be brought up, and instantly, just explosion of emotion, anger, frustration, whatever it was. I would be snippy. I would be angry. I would be just... there would be no patience left at all. And I like I said, I don't know 100% what the factors were. I have some ideas of what they could be, as I've listed out for you, and maybe some other stuff. But it wasn't healthy, for sure. So, excuse me. So there was that. And I just felt very unsatisfied, I guess, with how things were going. And like I've said before, work was great. And it's one of those things where I don't feel there was any justification for how I was feeling. Like, there's no reason I should have felt A, B, C, D emotions, whatever. I have a great job. I know what I'm doing there. It's not difficult. the people are great. I'm in a great relationship with someone I can be open and honest with, and myself. Like, there's no filter. That sounds weird. There's no, like, I don't feel like I need to think about what I'm going to say, or like analyze everything. And that's good. That's what you want in a partner, right? Is someone you could be your true self with. And that's great. I have a great support system with, you know, my parents. I know friendships here and there, like, love my friends to death. Oh boy, we're getting to the real stuff. Love my friends to death. But sometimes I felt like there's this barrier, there's this wall where I'd reach out, hey, just checking in, how's it going? There's no reciprocation. And I get it. Everyone has their life to live. Everybody's got a lot going on. For me, it felt like that relationship wasn't there anymore. In some cases. I know there's others who have kept up and have, you know, been around and stuff like that. But I don't want to call out any names. I'm not going to do that. But people, like, I've had a relationship for a long time, and like it's strong as bricks or whatever. I don't know. It just has poofed away. And I get it. Time, things, factors, it all happens. But it just frustrated me even more of like, what happened? What, did I do something? What happened? Did I say something? Did I do something? Did something wrong? Like, I just didn't understand. So that was another factor. And that was another thing that was adding to it. Was like, there's no reason I should be mad because other things are good. The work's good. The apartment's good. Financially, I'm good. I'm not like, you know, breaking records bank-wise, but like, I'm in no stress under that. Like, the relationship's good for the most part. Like, why are you angry? There's no reason to be angry. And it's just confusing and makes you even more mad. Like, why do you feel this way? So these things all kind of came to a head, I guess, during this summer season, or at least it felt like it got to a level where I ran out. I was at the end of my fuse. I don't know if I was burning it on both ends or whatever, but there's no more patience. There was no more, I don't know, control, I guess you could say, from my perspective. It didn't feel like that barrier between stable and unstable. there was nothing there. So yeah, I decided to take the break for that reason. And, you know, I'm not here 100% to be like, oh, I'm better. I feel 100% better. No, there are times definitely still that it feels like the end sounds very dramatic, but like there's nothing I can do. I mean, even just the other day, laid down on the floor and kind of had a moment for no reason. The rest of the day was totally fine. I just got into my head about something. So I feel better than I did. But I'm not sure if I'm not where I feel I should be and how I should be acting. Acting sounds weird, but like, I'm not Bret at this moment. I don't feel like I felt years ago where, yeah, there were stresses here and there, but like I felt I could be myself and I felt like I was in control. There's some things now that I feel I still need to get back into the swing of things. And I'm not sure entirely what to do. I've had some people reach out concerned, thinking I was depressed. I appreciate them for doing that. I don't think I'm at that level. And I know some people have recommended, like, oh, you should go to a therapist. Talk it out. I believe in therapy. People need it. Absolutely. Do your thing. And this is very dumb to say. I don't think I deserve therapy because there are people who have it way worse than me. I know that's dumb to say. And whatever. But for right now, and I've talked to Lady about this, I want to put my best foot forward into fixing myself, quote unquote there for podcast listeners, into getting back to where I want to be under my own power before I reach out towards these resources. There are things I actively know I can be better at. I can be better with an exercise routine. I haven't done anything since leaving Taekwondo and the whole COVID thing started. I get that. I can be better with that. Maybe it's a simple fix as that. Maybe it's a simple fix of a sleep routine. I feel I've been better with it, but I get it. You know. I don't know. I feel there's things I can do under my own power that I need to do. And then it circles back to the point earlier of like, oh, you don't feel motivated to do it. And you're telling yourself this is the way to fix it. And then you have no energy or like no motivation to do those things. It's like, what the fuck? You know the solution. Why aren't you doing it? And then it just adds to the whole thing. It's a whole vicious circle here. But that's where my head's been at recently. And I will say, the break did help. I did miss making content. I did miss doing the podcast. I miss playing Grounded with Jeff. I miss, hanging out with you guys in chat here or listening wherever you are. Thank you for doing that. I did miss that. And that's good. That's important. That means it's important to me that I want to keep pursuing this, right? That's good. Great. Where was I going with this? Oh, the break helped. I felt like I was able to decompress. I was able to take some time, just do some things for me, whether it was playing some games, which we'll get to later, whether it was going on walks here and there, just on my own, just to kind of get out of the house. Jesus Christ, somebody's street racing right now. Get out of the house, go do that, or just not have an obligation after work. It was literally just, I don't have to do anything right now. Felt good. And it took the time to enjoy some things that, I wanted to do. Didn't feel like I was rushed or like there was a time commitment every second, which granted, I like schedules, so it's a little contradictory. But I do feel the break helped. Obviously, the busy season of the summer also stopped. So that's another layer to this cake that may have helped. Like I said, 100%, I don't think I'm back at 100%. And there are still things I feel like I need to work on and deal with, whether it's personally or socially, whatever it may be. But I do overall think the break helped. I think there are still avenues that I need to improve, once again, based on the two things I just said before, but also from a goal standpoint. Okay, what do I want to accomplish? What do I want to achieve? And from a content perspective, whether it's this podcast or whether it's, the stream, what do I want to accomplish out of it? One, I want to make it fun again. Not that it wasn't fun, but it should be that mentality of I'm doing this for the right reasons. Would it be nice to make it big? Whatever. Sure. That's not the goal. That's not the goal. I'm going to be very transparent with you right now. That's not the goal. I think the goal for me, and I told Lady this, and I appreciate her being a very listening ear, very supportive listening ear. There we go. There's the term. And being a good partner. My goal for the stream, make it fun. I would like to build the stream to be, let's be honest here, a nice little side project. This is not going to be the thing that I quit my job for. It's going to be the thing that I live my life off of. No. I want this to be a nice side project. Maybe I make a couple bucks here and there. If not, I would like this to be something I feel fulfilled with as a side project. That's something, I don't know, I've always had in my head of like, you should do something that's rewarding to you. Not that work is not rewarding. Both the previous job and the job I'm doing currently. Great atmospheres. Were there some things, yes, that were a little stressful from time to time? Of course. I get that. I've been very fortunate with the 3 jobs that I have had, were for the most part all rewarding, all very satisfying. I get that. That's not a luxury for everybody, and I apologize to those people. Hopefully it gets better. For me, that's great. I could, do my whole tenure where I'm at, where I was, I'd be fine. This side project is like where I want to get my fulfillment from. So the goal for that, like I said, is just to be fun, to maybe build to that level where it's a little bit of a side gig. Great. If it's not, then I want to be fulfilled from it. So obviously there's stresses that come along with that. I feel like I'm jumping all over and I have no good plan here of tackling this topic. I apologize. I also want to be realistic with myself. And I know this is it's a game here on Twitch, on YouTube, on podcast services. Anyone and everyone can do it, right? Anyone and everyone can do it. Not everyone and anyone can do it successfully. Now that I know that's a gray term. Success can be defined by you in many different ways, whether it's financially, spiritually, physically, I don't know, whatever. It could be defined many ways. There's only a select few that are going to blow up, right? I get that. That's why I don't want that anymore, because that's not a healthy goal to achieve. If it happens, hey, hurrah, good job. But I can't compare myself to X, Y, Z, content, creation, person, group, whatever. No. How am I going to get satisfied by this? What is my attainable goal? And like I said, that's just, if it's the side thing, cool. I just want to build this bubble that we have and make it a positive bubble, and let's have fun in this bubble. So how do I get that? My best estimate is to really put in 100% now, not that it wasn't before, into really, I guess, creating for this. So looking into avenues for creating, whether it's videos for Instagram. I don't want to get a TikTok, but maybe a TikTok. Really just investigating these avenues of like, okay, where can I put stuff out to? How can I be more effective with my workflow? And do that. Put 100% effort into it. And I talked with Lady about it and being like, if I burn out again, or I'm like, I realize this is not for me, this is not the path I want to take, it's not fun anymore. At least I will know at that point in time, I did everything I could to succeed. I did everything. There's no if, ands, buts, nothing. Hypotheticals. I will know I put all of my energy into it. I did every little thing I could, and it didn't work out. That, won't feel great in the moment, but at least I'll know I've laid everything out on the table that I could, and it didn't work out. I'd be fine with that. But for right now, that's my thought process. We're going to do this again. We're going to put the positive energy into it. We're going to put all of our effort into it, controlling it in a good, healthy way. And we're going to put our best foot forward. And then whatever happens, happens. I don't know if any of that made sense. I apologize if it didn't. But that's my thought process now on the content side of things. Okay. Let's make it the best it can. And, try and be good with it. I feel like I'm rambling now, at least on the break part. But basically, I guess to wrap it all in a nice, neat bow, I was stressed. I was anxious. I was angry. I was frustrated. Not at anybody specifically, more at myself and just how I was feeling. Nothing felt valid. Nothing felt justified for why I was feeling these ways. And it just kept building. I didn't feel like I was myself. I didn't feel like I had any type of filter or patience that I used to have. And I want to get back to that point, essentially. So there is still work to be done, for sure. There are still things I need to improve. The break felt good. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate those people who reached out and listened, etc. Like I said, I'm not trying to blame any individuals, anything like that. If it came off that way, I do apologize. I know everyone has their own life. I know everyone has their own struggles. I do not want you to struggle. I apologize that you are going through your things. I want, you to push past your own demons as well. That's something I'm not going to once again name names, but that's something I had to deal with during the summer break too, is someone actively reaching out to me on the end of their rope. Well, not literally, but planning on committing suicide. They reached out to me and needed that assistance. And that was a whole nother layer to this cake of I don't know if I could do this right now. Luckily, somehow, I pulled that out of my ass and was able to talk them down. And they've gone on their own journey of healing. And, I'm glad for them for doing that. But yeah, it's just another thing to, during all of this, to just kind of be like, oh boy, all right, got to deal with that now. So yeah, I once again, rambling. I'm getting better. I want to continue to continue to get better. I'm sorry if I seemed like it was blaming anybody. That's not my intention. I understand everybody has their own stuff, and you definitely should focus on your own things, So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's emotionally what happened during the break and why it happened for so long. I'm looking forward to getting back to where I was and the positivity and good vibes and everything. And we'll go from there. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for listening. Hopefully that was, I don't know, informative, I guess. That sounds really dumb. Thanks for listening. I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being there. I know some people left some nice comments in the chat live, so I will read those later. Topic 2, on a much better note. Let's talk about some indie titles that I had the time to play during my hiatus. So yeah, I've been playing a bunch of games during the break. Some mainly indie titles, but some other titles as well that I kind of decompressed with. Had a good time with that. I kind of want to share my experience about some multiplayer stuff. Obviously, Fortnite's never going anywhere, at least for my game cycle. Multiverses has still been fun. I did start. I think I talked about it already, but I did play through Infamous Second Son all the way through again. That might have been just before our break. That was fun. I played a little bit more of Horizon Zero Dawn. And then for indie titles, I played through 2 games specifically. I played through a game called Tinykin, which is a game by Tiny Build. And essentially it is a Pikmin-inspired, adventure game. Essentially, you are a human who crash land back on Earth. For some reason, you were very tiny, almost like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style. And you're going around this house trying to pretty much get back home, but you're trying to find out more about life on the planet and what exactly happened. But essentially, it's a very cute 2D, 3D game. Very cute art style. And you're essentially going around collecting these different Tinykins. So there's ones that you can throw. There are ones that are bombs. There are ones that carry an electric charge. There's ones that create a bridge. There's ones that you can stack on top of each other and kind of use as a ladder or a platform to get to higher areas. So you're essentially collecting these to go around and help out the different insects and ants that you have come across and help them with their problems, different puzzles that you need to solve. And it was just very chill experience. Like I said, the art style is adorable. It's a big giant 3D house, different levels that you encounter and go through. But all of the characters that you interact with as well as yourself are all 2D. And seeing just the differing art styles and kind of how it melded into this one experience, which is really unique. We've talked about it with Dio and Danny when they were last on the podcast about a future Devolver Digital title, Plucky Plucky Squire. And that seems like it's another one of those 2D, 3D games that shares this kind of unique experience with it, because you don't see it often. A lot of fun, very chill to kind of explore the different levels. There's a lot of collectibles to be had in terms of artifacts of the house to kind of give you more of a backstory. There's pollen everywhere, which you use to kind of cash into one of the bugs to improve your own abilities, whether it's hovering or flying. And there's no direct path with the puzzles, so it's very open to you as to what your, path is of how you want to solve the entire level. So it was very nice to have that freedom of exploration. And the story that they do tell, while maybe not the best, is a satisfying story in the end, I would say. It was more of that experience of turn your brain off and just kind of zone to it. So I would highly recommend Tinykin. It was a good time. I think it took me about 14 to 15 hours to 100% complete it. If you're just going to go for the story, I would say 8 to 10, depending obviously on how much you take your time through that experience. But a lot of fun. Like I said, the art style I think is the biggest draw for me, just because it was cute and adorable. As for another indie title that I did play, I played through Death's Door all the way through. Now, Death's Door is a game that I've been hearing for a while through the 6-1 IndieCast. Shout out to them. It is essentially, it's very similar to Tunic, which I know we played on stream. And it's close to a Dark Souls type game. So you're essentially this crow, which are, the job title is Reapers, but you are essentially like gathering souls to kind of guide into the afterlife. So you're going through, you're collecting those people who are at the end of their life, these monsters and bosses, defeating them, and then taking their soul energy to death's door and releasing their spirit energy into that. The crows are immortal until they are in this physical world where these monsters live and reside. So in the immortal plane, or where you guys reside as the Reapers, you can you get more backstory on the crows and the Reapers and the whole history of the doors and whatnot. But then also you can similar to Souls games, cash in your soul energy as well for upgrades for your characters. So you increase your attack power, your dexterity, so how fast you can dodge and whatnot, your magic ability, and I believe there's one other one, probably something defensive. So you can cash into those, improve into your character. One thing that I will say is different from the Dark Souls is this one is very forgiving. So in a Dark Souls, a Sekiro, a Elden Ring, you defeat the enemies, you get these resources. If you die, the resources, you drop them, and you need to go back to your body and retrieve them. Otherwise, you lose them forever if you die again or just never collect them. Death's Door is very forgiving in the fact if you die, you do not lose that resource. You constantly hold on to it, so if you need to, you can go back at any point, kind of redeem those points, grow your character to make them better, and move forward. Basically, this game, it's another shorter experience. So there are 3 main bosses that you kind of tackle into your journey. So you start off your journey, you're going after a target. Unfortunately, another crow steals the target from you. You encounter, or confront them rather, and you kind of guide them, or not guide them, you help them and assist them on their journey to open Death's Door, this last door where apparently his original target is behind and hiding. Throughout your journey, you're going to tackle 3 main bosses. You have a grandmother who lives in a urn mansion who has been long past her livelihood and keeps revitalizing her lifespan to kind of extend. You have a frog king who has wrongfully taken over a forest and kind of grown in power over there. And then you have a Yeti monster who just lives on top of a mountain and kind of causes havoc onto the mountain. Eventually, you're going to tackle those 3 bosses, and that's going to lead into the rest of the narrative, which I'm not going to spoil because I highly recommend this game. It is a very good story. So essentially, you tackle those and you proceed from there. The game's difficulty doesn't seem too bad. There were a lot of times I did die, but I never felt like it got to a point of frustration where it's like, oh, this is too difficult, blah, blah, blah. I will say, listening to 61 IndieCast, I knew there was a trophy, which you guys know me and my trophies, I like getting them, where you had to use a specific weapon the entire game, and if you beat it with that weapon, you get the trophy. Can't switch out at any time, anything like that. And that weapon is essentially the worst weapon of the game. It was an umbrella. So the umbrella has the same attack rate as your base weapon, your sword, but its damage input is half. So basically you gotta hit everything twice as much as the base weapon in order to win these fights. So I heard this on the podcast. I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. If I don't, and I give up, guess what? I was playing on easy mode. Not like, to me, I was like, oh, I'm giving myself a handicap. If things are too hard, I'm just playing the base game. It should be uphill from there. Every experience is going to be easier because half the damage output I need to do, things will be better. I can use different weapons that I'll unlock later. It'll be all smooth sailing from there. So I figured I'll try it. If it gets too frustrating, I give it up. Not a big deal. No biggie. So the whole game I did end up playing with this umbrella. Not too bad. Not too bad. to be honest, like I said, you do obviously have the lower attack damage, so things do take a little longer to achieve. But you also can use magic spells throughout your entire experience. So learning just how to use those different spells throughout your game and throughout your gameplay kind of adjusts things, makes it a little bit easier, makes things a little bit more attainable. So not too stressful an experience there. I would say the time I died probably the most was that final boss sequence, which, kind of should be the way. Difficulty should escalate, so that makes sense. So I will say that'll probably be the time throughout the game I died the most. But other than that, not too bad. Die here and there, you learn from it, you move on. But yeah, Death's Door, highly recommend it. There are, once again, similar to Tinykin, a lot of collectibles that you can attain through this game. There are buffs to your health, buffs to your magic, which I will humble brag, say I didn't get any health upgrades throughout the entire experience of using the umbrella, so really put a handicap on myself there. There's spell upgrades, there's different little artifacts, once again, that you can get a little bit more backstory to collect. And then after the ending, once again, not going to go into spoiler territory, but it just kind of allude to it, there is a 100% ending where you have to fill out a checklist of collect all the things here, collect all the things there, do this special objective, whatever. And granted, it will take time. I used guides for it, not gonna lie there. Where's this? Where's that? But it's the base game and its story, very good, very satisfying. The 100% ending is that other layer on the cake where it's not needed, but it was it was rewarding enough of an experience that I felt, rewarded for the time I had put in and what I had worked for. So, Death's Door, highly recommend. Can't put it in my game of the year this year because I think it came out last year, but it's one of those experiences where it's up higher. It's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, it's on Steam. I don't know if it's on Switch. Check it out. Highly recommend it. A lot of fun. If you like Tunic, or if you like any of the Dark Souls, even if not, it's not super difficult. So I think it's something that people can kind of latch onto and enjoy. Highly recommend those. As for other games, I did play a little bit of Elden Ring. I did enjoy my experience with that. I'm not going to get too much into detail with that because I may talk about that on a future podcast. I did enjoy that. If you've been on Twitter, you've seen my journey through that game. I have taken a little bit of a break. I played a little bit of Returnal, another one that I've kind of dropped off on, not because it's bad, but just because I am bad at gaming and practice is there. Got to Act 2. I've dove back into the Switch a little bit now because I've stopped being lazy and finally set that up on my TV at the new apartment. So I've been playing or replaying through Pokemon Arceus and Pokemon Sword and Shield, just kind of enjoying that, I don't know, that experience of catching stuff and all the battles. It's just one of those nostalgia-driven things where I already know what's going to happen. Arceus I never finished, but it's not anything that's going to test my brain or really make me think about stuff. It's just one of those experiences where it's a zone, a chill, have a good time with. So yeah, I guess those have been the games that I've been playing through break. There might have been another one or two, but I'm kind of blanking on any big stuff I did play. I guess I could check my list. Oh, did I talk about Escape Academy with you guys? I don't think I did. Escape Academy, another game that I got recommended by, this one was from Mr. K-Step, shout out to him. It's essentially escape rooms with a little story behind it, but it's I don't know, 9 or 10 levels that are just all escape rooms. Not the longest experience, I say 6 to 8, maybe a little longer if things take you a little more time to solve and figure out, but it was very rewarding experience. Of just like, I love escape rooms. I haven't been in years. But puzzle solving and figuring out the different things that you need to do. Oh, this piece goes to that goes to that, or, you know, writing things down to be like, okay, this is this pattern or this math thing. A lot of fun. If you love escape rooms, if you love puzzles, highly recommend Escape Academy. It does have post-game content, like a season pass that's coming out. I'm not sure exactly when, but that was a lot of fun. I think Cult of the Lamb I talked about before. That might have been before the break. But almost 100% on the trophies to that game. I have 100% of Death Store, Tinykin as well, Escape Academy. But Cult of the Lamb has a little bit harder challenges, considering some of the boss fights. Or not considering, tied in with the boss fights. So that one will take some time, but that's another game that was a lot of fun. That will be probably up on my higher end game of the year discussion once we get to that point. But good stuff. A lot of good games too that I played and experienced. So check them out. Good stuff. Good stuff. Moving on to topic 3, let's talk about a movie that, boy, oh boy, have I been slacking on that came out ages ago, and that's Morbius. Boy, howdy. Full review for Morbius right now, so, I mean, it's been out for months. If you don't want to be spoiled, now's your time to leave. I don't blame you there. Bret, why did you avoid this movie for so long? Let's start off with that. Well, one, it's not tied in the MCU. This is a purely Sony-driven movie, as they own all the Spider-Man rights and all those characters. So they've been dabbling, you know. Let's take care of this. Not take care of this. Let's take advantage of this superhero film success, and let's continue to pump out these products. And I've watched both the Venom movies, and, you know, I'll admit, the dichotomy between Tom Hardy and the Venom that they portray in that film, I like it. Their romance thing, the movies aren't the greatest. They do have some good aspects of it, but, like, they're fine. I don't think it's anything I'll, like, go back and actively rewatch, but they're fine experiences. So anyways, the bar was low for Morbius when it was announced. I like Jared Leto. Learning now more what of kind of a person he is. That's like, okay, not great, but I do like aspects of him. So I was like, okay, you know, this casting makes sense. I'm down for it. Then we get the trailers, and we get these teases that this movie is tied in with other movies, Spider-Man specifically. We had a tease that this was tied into the Tom Holland MCU universe, which blew my mind, with Vulture making an appearance towards the end of one of the trailers. And then we also had another shot that had Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man like sprayed painted onto a wall or a poster. So it was a big head scratcher of like, where does this fit? How does it fit? Which universe is it in? This is all pre-Far From Home, or No Way Home, rather, so we didn't go through that whole Spider-Man journey. So, anyways, announced ages ago, got delayed, whatever, finally works out, releases. So I don't see it right away, and then I start seeing the internet buzz around it. Now, we've talked about this many times on the podcast. Obviously, Twitter is a hellscape for opinions at times. It could be a lovely thing at times, and then most of the time it's just like, woo boy. Everyone was shitting on this movie. It's awful. It's terrible. We're making memes out of it. We're making jokes out of it. Whatever. So I was like, alright, maybe I shouldn't watch this. So everybody bags on it. Everybody's shitting on it. Whatever. So I end up not going to see it. Now the memes, everybody's memeing the shit out of it. Morphin time, Power Rangers, whatever. They meme that, and everybody's going crazy about it. Sony picks up on this, and they're like, oh my god, people love our movie. let's re-release it in theaters for a little bit of time, make a little bit of extra money off of it, right? It gets re-released. It tanks. Barely anybody goes sees it in this re-release. So, big misfire on Sony's part. Because, like I said, people just are shitting on the movie. They don't actively enjoy it. So anyways, time passes. Shout out to a platypus. He's memeing the shit out of it, putting it as notifications on his channel. I'm laughing, being like, this can't be real. Turns out it is a real scene. Oh my god. So it rolls around on Netflix. I had taken a week off of work, kind of tying back into our first two topics, to take a break. And I was like, all right, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to watch this during my vacation. So it's the last thing I do on my vacation before going back to work. I decided to watch it. And to be honest, maybe it was because the insanely low bar that I entered this movie into, it's not terrible. I had a good time with it. Is it the greatest thing ever? The great movie? Does it have the best story? No, it does not. Is it something I was disgusted with and like, oh my god, that was awful. I regret those 2 hours. I'm never, just, no, I don't think it was that either. It was a nice middle ground, fine experience. Okay, so let's get into it. Graphics, or, not graphics, what are they? Visuals. Let's go with that. Visually, I think this movie did really well. I think it looked really good for the most part with its visuals that it was going with. From the transformation of Leto into the more Morbius character, the vampire, good stuff. They transformed him many times facially throughout it, and when he was full Morb, good stuff. The way that he's able to not teleport, but when he travels from point to point, kind of leaves like this smoky purple trail behind him, looks fantastic. The sonar ability looks kind of cool, how it pulses out. He's able to see pretty much echolocation, where things are, stuff like that. I will say the visuals of that in 2 other aspects, though, kind of silly, kind of dumb. The silly one was his eyes. When he does this echolocation thing, for some reason his eyes turn into amoeba-looking things. Kind of silly. The dumb one was echolocation through his ears. For some reason, looks like this man has ear hairs that are wiggling about in his earlobe. Stupid. Very stupid. And they played on it a few times, and it was just like, oh my god, oh boy. That was dumb. So you have those things. Matt Smith's character turns out to be the antagonist of this film. His transformation, I will say, and his vampire appearance, a little sketchy at times. Whatever. Let's get to the story, shall we? Now, I'm not going to remember this exactly because it's been some time. So, if you don't know, Michael Morbius, at least in this film, has a health condition that something's going on. He can't walk properly. Something with his blood is kind of not allowing him to be the most healthy of people. Movie opens, he's at a hospital. And it's a hospital for patients like this, mainly kids. And another kid is brought into the hospital because of the similar condition. The two become friends. Now, Jared Leto's character, Michael Morbius, kind of a dick. He welcomes this kid. This kid, very nice, very respectful, introduces himself. I think his name was... oh boy. I don't even remember his real name. And that's bad. Because that's kind of the whole plot line we're going down. So Michael says, hey, nice to meet you, Milo. Calls him Milo. And the kid's like, well, that's not my name. I'm not Milo, right? Apparently Milo was like one of the OG kids that has been in that bed, and that bed has been like a constant rotation or flux of kids who unfortunately have passed away. And Michael has this trauma or whatever, essentially, this connection, where every kid in that bed is Milo. So this is the new Milo. Okay, great. So anyways, the two build a very nice connection. They're best buddies. Milo, whatever his real name is, at one point is getting blood transfused into him, if I recall correctly. And the machine kind of starts failing, and essentially he passes out. Michael's able to save the day with a simple pen and a spring, kind of fixes the device, saves Milo's life. Yay! All right. Michael, because of this incident, is granted access to, like, not medical school because he's still young, but like they are investing in him for being intelligent, and like Lucian was his original name. Thank you. Noticing he's gifted and, you know, smart, so the hospital finds a way to fund him to go get educated. Turns into him being a doctor, fast forward, and creating essentially a way to help patients like him in his condition, and like this fake blood. It's not real blood, it's artificial, whatever. And it kind of just helps the overall supply that is needed for these kids and people in this condition. So he's great. He's a great doctor, takes care of people, whatever. He is still trying to find a cure for this condition. Makes sense, right? He's done everything he can, and now he's going under illegal ways to do it. So he's going to do it through vampire bats. Ooh, plots. All right. He tests it on mice. It's the whole regular rigmarole of like, oh, failure here, failure there, failure there. He tries it again. It fails again. Oh, no. And turns out in that failure is a success. Originally, the rat dies, flatlines, but then a few minutes later wakes up and, oh my God, it works. Anyway, it's him and his lab assistant, the female love interest in this movie. I'm sorry, I do not know the actress's name. They eventually go to test this on Michael. Goes offshore, is in a boat. Injects himself, locks himself in his glass room, whatever. Has a reaction. Now he's the whole vampire thing, right? Okay. He goes on a tear because the woman doctor gets essentially thrown, knocked out by the security that is on the boat. Michael goes all bah, and kills them all, right? Okay, great. Doesn't vampire kills them all, like, you know, bites their neck or anything like that. He just goes on a rampage, clawing their stomachs, all spooky and shit. For some reason, the camera's first person at times, which was odd. Blech. But whatever. We see his powers. Cool stuff. He does that. So basically, that's what happens there. Other narrative. Let's loop back our friend Lucian / Milo into this business, right? Milo and Michael have stayed close. They're best of buddies. Apparently, Milo is a fucking billionaire. Gambling. I don't know how he did it. We never get an explanation for that. He's there. He's still getting checked up on by the original doctor. But he's pretty much funding Michael's ventures from time to time. Michael shares that he's got a cure, but it's not great because, well, it has a side effect, or he turns into a vampire and needs blood. He learns about his abilities. Well, anyways, he shares this with Milo. Milo's pissed. Oh, you're not sharing the cure with me, blah, 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 even though you've warned me that this is, you know, evil and not great and whatever. He ends up stealing part of the serum. Whoa! Shocker, surprise. I know, big twist. So he's all good now, after a whole ploy with Michael, which surprisingly, good. I'm skipping a lot of story beats here, so I apologize. Anyways, so Milo's whole thing is he wants to live his life, because, well, I get it. He's been disabled, had this disease. His entire life, people looked at him weird. He wants to live his life. So, he's just out there being super strong and doing his thing. So now we get to the meme that I didn't even know was a real thing. So this man's going out, living his life, right? He's getting out for a night on the town, or getting ready for a night on the town. He's getting dressed. So, you're trying to hype yourself up, right? What are you going to do as I pull my hair here? Yeah. You're going to put on some jams. And you're going to get out ready for the night. This man is dancing to himself, jamming out to a song that's just saying, have sex. Have sex, have sex, boop, 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 doop, doop. Stupid. Like, I remember first seeing this on, once again, Platty stream. Shout out to Platty. Seeing this notification. This man's genius of notification. Whether him and his mods make it, I don't know. Like, hilarious. I'm like, this is fucking, I don't know what this is from. This is stupid. I thought he added the song in there. I thought this dance was just like, I had no idea. And then I looked it up and saw it was real. So when watching this movie, I knew it was coming. Just total, like, thrown in there for no reason. I had seen it a million times, so I already, like, laughed my ass off at it. But just weird, very weird scene that we added into this thing. Anyways. I just had to talk about that. So anyways, the two are going to end up fighting because Milo's a piece of shit and Michael's trying to stop him. So the two fight, blah, blah, blah. Milo kicks his ass. Easily. I'm skipping way far ahead to the finale. Kicks his ass easily. Michael decides to summon bats from all of New York and, like, do this whole swarm attack thing. The bats do all the work, and Michael comes up and stabs him with the, like, antidote, right? And it's over. I was like, bro, you just got your ass whooped. And you did nothing. How many bats are in New York? Well, Jeff, apparently a fuck ton. Like, 10,000 plus? I don't know. I couldn't count them all. They're small, and they're going everywhere. It was like the fucking the portals of hell from bats just opened and everybody swarmed in. So anyways, yeah. So Milo's taken care of, which is, again, the stupidest thing. Why is his name Milo? Why did he just accept it? Why is he not Lucian? He just like, they said his name at the beginning. He was Milo. He was Milo for the whole thing. And everybody was calling him. Michael was calling him that. The lady doctor was calling him that. The original doctor was calling him that. He was even calling himself that. Why? Okay, so I know I'm making a lot of fun of it now. All in all, the story was fine. And the movie was fine. I did not get disgusted or appalled with this movie until the post-credit sequence. And now, it's not just one. This movie got 2 post-credit sequences. So, remember how I alluded to the trailer earlier? Of, Vulture shows up and the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is on the wall, right? In the trailer. Oh my God, what's going on? Oh. Are those in the movie? No, they're not. To answer your question, they're not in the movie. The Spider-Man thing, not on the wall. Vulture doesn't show up until the fucking post-credit. They showed the post-credit in the trailer. A little modified. I'll give them that. A little modified. What the fuck? And, okay, so the first post-credit is showing how Vulture gets there. Because, guess what? Adrian Toomes He doesn't exist in this universe. Spoiler for No Way Home. Hopefully you watch that. Remember that big rift in the sky? Doctor Strange going woo, 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 and trying to fix everything? Apparently, that took the Vulture from the MCU, or another universe, I don't know, I could be wrong, and kicked his ass over to the Morbius universe, which apparently is tied in with Venom, because we got the I'm Venom joke. And he just shows up in jail and is like, the fuck? He gets left out of jail because, well, he's not supposed to be there. And he shows up, and you're like, oh, okay, what the fuck? Like, I didn't think that purple thing was transferring anyone else there. I get Goblin going back to his universe. I get Octopus. I get Lizard, because they invaded, right? We never saw Tooms invade. Or, if this is the MCU Tooms, what the fuck? Because we're just leaving that cliffhanger there. And what about him talking to Scorpion in jail? But like, I know Peter Parker's well, I know Spider-Man's identity, blah, blah, blah. We're just leaving that? We're just saying, fuck that? Anyways, Adrian somehow gets to this universe, right? And he's like, hello. Second post-credit sequence. Michael Morbius, driving down the street. I'm a cool guy in a cool car. Goes to somewhere in the desert. Parks, gets out. All right, cool. Who comes zooming in? It's the fucking Vulture. In his fucking Vulture suit. Where did he get the suit? Where did it come from? Apparently you don't exist in this universe. How was this just here? Comes zooming in. I think he might have had something. I forgot. And he's like, hey, Michael, let's get a group together, because Spider-Man's a real piece of shit. What do you mean? Spider-Man's not in this universe. Michael Morbius looks pissed and like all motivated, like, yeah, fuck Spider-Man. He hasn't been established. Morbius, what's your problem with Spider-Man? You're just a dude who went, I'm a vampire. Brah, I'm going to be a good guy, not bite people. And then fucking, now you're pissed at Spider-Man? Who the fuck is Spider-Man? Is this Venom's universe? Is this another Venom? What makes zero fucking sense? Jeff exactly saying it in chat. Vulture's suit was made of stolen tech, Stark and Chitauri tech, which neither exist in the universe. What the fuck? I don't... Like I said, rest of the movie, I was fine. I was like, oh, you know what? That wasn't that bad. I knew it had a low bar going in. Maybe that helped it. And then I got adamantly pissed with these post-credit scenes. Sony, what are you doing? Oh my God, just, I love the Spider-Man movies. I love, obviously, the ones that they've done by themselves. Obviously, they have some things that are, yeah. And then, obviously, the MCU ones. But that's because Disney and Marvel are fucking there being like, What is Sony doing on their own? I don't understand. If you want to make this shared universe with these other characters that are not Spider-Man, you want to do your own thing, fine. But put some effort into it making sense or something. Because, okay, Venom 1, strike 1. Right? Venom 2 with Carnage, strike 2. Morbius, strike 3. You can't keep producing movies like this and expect people to turn out. I think Morbius was the last straw. Because we were memeing it. Everybody was memeing it, making fun of it, right? Like, what's next? The Craven movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson? I don't know if that's still happening. You think people are going to give that a chance? I don't know. We want to, because as comic book fans are like, oh, it's that character, I really like them, they're getting a movie. I don't know how long, they're not going to give up the Spider-Man rights. I get it, so they're going to keep pumping out shit. This Madam Spider movie, I don't give a fuck. it's just like, ooh, are you doing more harm than good? I know I'm way late to this conversation, but it's just like, brother, what the hell is going on? Don't know. Welcome to this rant. Hope you enjoyed it. This has been another episode of the Wait, What Are You Talking About podcast. I didn't say it earlier, but episode 146. Thank you guys for hanging out today. I know it was a wide variety of topics today and a wide variety of emotions. So yeah, thanks for hanging out and sticking through it. If you guys want to catch this podcast live, go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You catch it live over on Sundays or over on the channel on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Check it out over there. Join in the conversation like Rainbow and Jeff did today, along with many other viewers. Thank you very much. We'd love to have you in on all the fun. But if you can't catch live, that's A-okay. Go over to YouTube where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday on YouTube and podcast services. Last but not least, if you want to show your support wherever you're watching or listening, please leave us a review, comment, thumbs up, whatever it may be, or go to the merch store. You can always show your support for the channel in those avenues. It may seem small, but it does go a long way. So thank you for your support, and I appreciate you for it. Thank you guys for watching and listening today. Hopefully we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.